Devaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, Hare Krishna, dear devotees, thank you very much for joining us today. I'd like to seek the blessings of Radha Madhav, Radha Shyamsundar, Krishna Balaram, Gonitai, Shri Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, and the Assembled Vaishnavas, so that we can continue with the overview of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the 11th canto. And today we look at the 14th chapter. And this is a wonderful verse from this chapter, text number 12. Maya Pita Tatmana Sabya Nirapekshasya Sarvataha Mayatmana Sukham Yatat Hutasya Pishayatatmanam. So, oh learned Uddhav. So Krishna is speaking to Uddhav. Those who fix their consciousness on me, giving up all material desires, share with me a happiness that cannot possibly be experienced by those engaged in sense gratification. So this verse is particularly important because Krishna is defining here one who takes up bhakti yoga will share with him the happiness that cannot be experienced by anybody else. So very interesting how Krishna is equating the happiness of the jiva with the happiness of the absolute truth on an equal platform. That's really amazing. Now Krishna explains the yoga system to Sri Uddhav. So in this chapter, Krishna explains that devotional service to the Supreme Lord is the most excellent method of spiritual practice. He also speaks about the process of meditation. So Uddhav inquires from the Lord. He wanted to know what process of spiritual advancement is the best. He also desired to hear about the super excellence of devotional service, which is free from ulterior motives. So that is obviously the best type of way. We have no motive to serve the Lord except to please him. The Supreme Personality of Godhead replied to him that the original process of religion really revealed in the Vedas had become lost during the time of annihilation. At the beginning of the new creation, therefore, the Supreme Lord spoke it again to Brahma, because he is religious principle. He is the religious principles enunciated in the Vedas, because Lord Brahma is the original living entity in this material world. So the Lord has empowered him with the Vedas. Brahma repeated it to his eldest son Manu, who spoke it to the 7 great rishis, Sapta rishis, headed by Bhrigu Muni. And one day I really want to do just to get to know these Sapta rishis. We need to just do a little session on them, each one of them. And these sages, the Sapta rishis, in turn, instructed this eternal religion to the demigods and the demons. And these Sapta rishis are very important because they actually have quite a big say in the running of the universe effectively. So from the forefathers headed by Bhrigu Muni and the other sons of Brahma appeared many children and descendants who assumed different forms as demigods, demons, human beings, Guyaks, Siddhas, Gandharvas, Vidyadharas, Charanas, Kindevas, Kinnaras, Nagas, Kimpurushas, and so on. So this is all coming from Bhrigu Muni and the other sons of Brahma. So this is how the knowledge, Vedic knowledge transferred. All of the many universal species, along with their respective leaders, appeared with different natures and desires. generated from the three modes of material nature. So according to one's desires, according to one's nature, one gets a particular type of body. Because of the living entity's multitude of diverse desires, this system of religion was elaborately explained in different ways, which were handed down through tradition, custom, and civic succession. So that's why the Vedas are so vast, because they cater for all different types of individuals. Thus, different philosophies arose, including various atheistic doctrines. And some of these atheistic doctrines, they say that people will be happy by performing pious religious activities, or some of these philosophies rather. Others say that happiness is attained through fame, sense gratification, truthfulness, self-control, peace, self-interest, political influence, opulence, renunciation, consumption, sacrifice, penance, charity, vows, regulated duties, or strict disciplinary regulations. Each process has its proponents. So all these different philosophies, each one has, has its own leaders, proponents who put them forward. So, because there's so many different types of in living entities. Because a living entity bewildered by illusion is incapable of ascertaining his eternal benefit, he mistakenly identifies vows of penance, austerity, etc., to be the topmost spiritual practice. So sometimes we think, yes, you know what, I'll fast, and when I fast, I'll do so much nice austerities that will make me spiritual. But that's not right. Fasting in itself will not do anything unless we are connected with the Supreme by trying to please him. So what happens to these people who do these austerities and penances? They obtain temporary fruits from their material work. Indeed, the meager and miserable situations they achieve bring future unhappiness and are based on ignorance. Even while enjoying the fruits of their work, such persons are filled with lamentation. Now, those who are, however, have fixed their consciousness on the Supreme Lord, giving up all material desires, share with him happiness that cannot possibly be experienced by those engaged in sense gratification. So that's the verse that we read. Krishna's very, very nicely explaining this. They achieve peace by controlling senses and happiness wherever they go. Such a person, desiring the Lord only, would not want. So this is what they don't want, which others do want. The position or abode of Lord Brahma or Lord Indra. Nor do they want an empire on this earth, nor sovereignty in the lower planetary systems, nor the eightfold perfection of yoga, nor do they want liberation from birth and death. So this is, the Lord is explaining the nature of the devotee. They don't want anything. And he says this several times in this canto, especially. We'll see this again and again. The Lord informs Uddhav that the devotee is more dear to him than Lord Brahma. Brahma is the topmost living entity. But if he's not a devotee, then that Lord Brahma is not significant to the Lord. More dear than Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, even Lord Shankarshan, even the goddess of fortune, and in fact, even more dear than himself. So this is how much emphasis the Lord places on the devotee. With the dust of my devotee's lotus feet, the Lord desires to purify the material worlds. Even the Lord follows the footsteps of his pure devotees who are free from all personal desire. Such persons enjoy the Lord's happiness. And the practical example, when does the Lord follow in the footsteps of his pure devotees? When he came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When he came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came as his Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he followed the path of the devotees. So he followed in the footsteps of the devotees. By virtue of his unflinching devotion to the Lord, the devotee can never be completely diverted by the objects of sense enjoyment. Even if he is not able to control over his senses in the beginning, just as a blazing fire turns firewood into ashes, similarly, devotion unto the Lord completely burns to ashes sins committed by his devotees. So this is really powerful. So in the beginning, it may be hard to control the senses because we are life after life entangled in satisfying our desires. And we have obtained a body which is going to facilitate trying to satisfy our senses. So when we take to the path of bhakti, it's not necessarily the case right from the beginning. We will be all controlling our senses. But what Krishna is saying that just like a fire will destroy all the firewood, make it into ashes, bhakti will completely destroy any sins the devotee commits. So the Lord's devotees bring him under their control, but he cannot be controlled by those engaged in mystic yoga, Sankhya philosophy, pious work, right? Vedic study, austerity, or renunciation. Only by practicing bhakti with full faith in the Lord can one obtain the Supreme Lord, who is naturally dear to his devotees. By engaging in such pure devotional service, even the dog eaters can purify themselves from the contamination of their low birth. Neither religious activities endowed with honesty and mercy, nor knowledge obtained with great penance can completely purify one's consciousness if they are bereft of loving service to the Lord. So this is really powerful statements by the Lord. So anybody can be purified by bhakti, no matter who they are. This is the beauty of why the Lord is impartial. He doesn't stop anybody becoming a devotee of the Lord. The effects of bhakti. What does bhakti do? If hairs do not stand on end, how can the heart melt? Right? When we're chanting Krishna's name and our hair does not stand on our hand on end, then how will our heart melt? And if the heart does not melt, how can tears of love flow from the eyes? If one does not cry in spiritual happiness, how can one render bhakti to the Lord? And without such service of bhakti, how can the consciousness be purified? So just as gold, when melted in fire, gives up its impurities and returns to its pure, brilliant state, similarly, the spirit soul absorbed in the fire of bhakti is purified of all contamination caused by previous fruitive activities and returns to the original position of serving him, the Supreme Lord, in the spiritual world. And he regains his ability to see the absolute truth. So this is the power of bhakti. It purifies the consciousness completely. Just like gold, when it is melted in a very strong fire, gives up all impurities and returns to its pure state. The mind of one meditating upon the objects of sense gratification is certainly entangled in such objects. Being conscious of the eternal self, one should give up association with women and those intimately associated with women. of all kinds of suffering and bondage arising from various attachments. None is greater than the suffering and bondage arising from attachment to women and intimate contact with those attached to women. So this is probably the biggest single source of what's keeping us in this world, the attraction to the opposite sex. So then, Uddhav asks questions about the process of liberation. By what process should one who desires liberation meditate upon you? What specific nature should his meditation be? And whose form should he meditate? Very nice questions. So the Lord answers. So he gives a very technical answer. Sitting on a level that is not too high or too low, keeping the body straight and erect, yet comfortable, placing the hands on one's lap, focusing the eyes on the tip of one's nose. One should purify the pathways of breathing by practicing pranayam. From the Muladhara chakra, one should move the life air continuously upwards. So the life air from wherever it is at the moment, possibly in the stomach, can be moved up slowly, 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 until it comes to the top of the head. Continue raising the sacred syllable upwards, the distance of 12 angulas. So this is within the body. The Omkar should join together with the 15 vibrations produced with Anuswara. One should carefully practice the pranayam system 10 times at sunrise, noon, and sunset. This is like the Gayatri mantra. 10 times we chant it. Thus, after 1 month, one will be able to conquer the life air, prana, keeping the eyes half closed and fixed on the tip of one's nose, being enlivened and alert. One should meditate on the lotus flower situated within the heart. This lotus has 8 petals and is situated on an erect lotus stalk. One should meditate on the sun, moon, and fire, placing them one after the another within the roll of that lotus flower, placing the Lord's transcendental form within the fire. And then what is this transcendental form of the Lord? It's described as follows by Krishna. It's perfectly proportionate, gentle, and cheerful, possesses 4 beautiful long arms, a charming, beautiful neck, handsome forehead, pure and glowing, a pure smile, and glowing sharp-shaped earrings suspended from 2 identical ears. The spiritual form is the color of a dark rain cloud. It's garbed in golden yellowish silk. The chest of that form of the Lord is the abode of Srivatsa and the goddess of fortune. That form is also decorated with the conch shell disc club lotus flower and garland of forest flowers. The 2 brilliant lotus feet are decorated with ankle bells and bracelets. And that form exhibits this kastuba gem along with an effulgent crown. The upper hips are beautified by a golden belt, and the arms are decorated with valuable bracelets. All the limbs of that beautiful form captivate the heart, and the face is beautified by merciful glancing. So that's a description given by Lord Krishna about the form that one can meditate upon within the heart. The process of meditation and giving it up. One can use the intelligence to fix the mind on that most transcendental form. So we can use the intelligence. The mind is very difficult to control because it's very flickering. It goes here, there, everywhere. Wherever it wants to go, it goes. That's why we have to use the intelligence to fix the mind on, in this case, the transcendental form of the Lord. One should pull the consciousness back from all limbs of that transcendental body and meditate only on the wonderfully smiling face of the Lord. This is making the meditation even more focused. Being established in meditation on the Lord's face, one should then withdraw the consciousness and fix it in the sky. Then giving up such meditation, one should become established in the Lord and give up the process of meditation altogether. Then one should see the Lord within one's own soul and should see the individual soul within the Supreme Lord. Thus, he sees the individual souls united with the Supreme Soul, just as one sees the sun rays completely united with the sun. This doesn't mean we merge with the Lord. We shouldn't make that mistake that we suddenly become the Lord. We're always going to be his servant, the Jiva, Jivatma, and he's always going to be Vishnu or Krishna, Supreme Lord. But what this means is we understand that our nature and his nature are the same, spiritual, and we are a tiny part and parcel of the Supreme. So this is a really interesting how Krishna has analyzed how one can do that through meditation and then giving up that meditation. In the age of Kali Yuga, this is quite hard to put into practice, as Arjun told Krishna in the Battle of Kurukshetra, in the Bhagavad Gita.
Rauji, what are you discussing? I forgot.
This is all about meditation, actually. Uddhav is asking Krishna, what is the process of liberation? And Krishna is explaining that you should meditate in a certain way and on a certain form. And then once you've fixed your mind on that form.
Rauji, which form?
This is the form of Vishnu, 400 Vishnu.
Oh.
400 Vishnu. That's the form that Krishna has recommended in this chapter. And then you can give it up as well, that meditation, and just focus in on the Supreme Lord and how you are spirit, soul, part and parcel of God as well.
Okay, Brojan.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So this is an interesting chapter. But this process is not easy. As Arjun said to Krishna, it's easier for me to control the mind than to, put in the practice that you have suggested in the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So then Krishna says to Arjun, yes, it is difficult, no doubt. Mind is hard to control, but it is possible by practice and detachment. So this might be this process of meditation may be a little bit too much, but we have the best process, and that is practiced by the Supreme Lord himself as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and that is the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And we've been given specific targets to meet every single day in order that we connect with the Supreme Lord. So we are quite lucky and quite blessed that we can follow a process of meditation which is possible in this age of Kali Yuga without being deviated or diverted into other philosophies or other practices. We're very, very fortunate. So any questions, any comments?
Prabhuji?
Hare Krishna, Nariben.
Yes, just one question on the meditation. Now, as such, meditation can be quite calming as well, isn't it, to the mind? It helps in, what I would say, control your senses, and then you can sort of concentrate on one thing at a time, like, as you say, Lord Vishnu's form situated in the region of the heart. So we are not going to be like yogis, but simple meditation, it can be quite calming. That's what I'm trying to say.
Correct. Very good.
Yes.
And it is very beneficial, especially when you can establish yourself in the mode of goodness at least.
Yes.
And from that point, it's very easy to then, meditate on the Supreme Lord and the mantras. So yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, and then we can sort of, as you say, it calms your mind down, body down, it calms down the stress levels, everything comes down gradually. I don't want to talk about Ashtanga Yoga, which is what yogis do, but just some kind of meditation about 10, 15 minutes. I think that's what I'm talking about.
And maybe you're talking about the breathing exercises as well, the pranayams. They also can, like
Yes.
at one point, Krishna says, pranayam is the force of life.
Yes. Yeah, we can do that pranayam. But
Yeah.
I was more thinking of just calming down,
Meditation.
sitting down in one place and just forget everything, withdrawing your senses and concentrate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No, definitely. It's just that I think Arjun was a little disturbed by the amount of time that Krishna was indicating to him that he would have to stay in that meditative position, which is a very long period of time. Arjun said, "No, I can't do it. I got Gandiva bow in my hand. I'm not going to meditate."
Yeah. And can I ask another question?
Yes.
They said you sit down in a quiet place, whatever, with your eyes half closed, half open, whatever you want to say. But there are different opinions about that. Half closed and half open. What does that actually mean? Why do we say that? We can withdraw our senses, but at the same time, if we leave them closed, I think we may fall asleep. But,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't do much meditation, but whenever I see people usually do with their eyes closed.
Yeah. I mean, no, I think Krishna here recommends that you keep them long or open enough so you can just see the tip of your nose.
Yes. Yeah.
I think you're right. If you keep them closed, you might just doze off into a very deep meditation. Sleep.
Yeah.
See, in this age of Kali, it is hard. It's hard to even for a few minutes to sit and meditate. It's very hard.
Yeah.
But that's where we are very fortunate, because we don't even have to do that, because we simply can chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. That's it. That is the best meditation, because you are then not too worried about what's too worried about this fight with the mind to control it, because you're chanting the holy names, you're listening to the holy names, and you are just trying to have a conversation with the Supreme Lord. You are in the conversation with the Supreme Lord. So that meditation is the highest,
Highest, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I will reach my house. I have to go inside. So disconnect.
Okay.
I'll connect when
so
I'm inside.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Riyansh.
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I want to ask that, like in Kali Yuga, Krishna appeared as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then he told that you don't have to do any meditation. You can just do Harinam Sankirtan. But why here Krishna is telling to do meditation?
Well, he did the same in the Bhagavad Gita, right? He told Arjun, because some people like to follow a process of meditation as well. Some yogis like to do it. So Krishna will accept that form of bhakti, that form of devotion to the Lord. He will accept. So meditation is, see, especially in Satya Yuga, meditation was so important. Treta Yuga is a little less important, Dwapara Yuga even less. And in Kali Yuga, practically impossible anyway. So, but Krishna will not stop that process of meditation. There are some devotees who like to meditate, and he will allow that because that is what is the prescribed route for some people. They like to meditate. So he will never stop it. But he knows in Kali Yuga it's very hard. So as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as you very nicely said, he came and Harinam Sankirtan. And that is also a form of meditation. One can sit nicely, do the pranayam, and chant at the same time. And that is also a very nice form of connecting with the Supreme Lord. Is that okay, Rianj?
Yes,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you for asking.
This Harinam, it is not for us only, Prabhuji. It is for all the living entities.
Everybody, yeah.
Even the weeds, and then the trees, they heard, they hear this holy name, and they are happy. You know, the problem is that they cannot speak, but they have the senses working, Prabhuji. Do you agree with me?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like,
Everybody.
yes, even the ants, even the little living entity, they
Everybody
get this holiday, chanting, devotees dancing, devotees laughing. You know, there was a time what we were doing this now every week, you know, but in this Mauritius, every corner we were doing this. But now, you know, those devotees have just separated all these things. You know, it's Kali Yuga, Prabhu. We expect all these things, Prabhu. Haribol.
Thank you. Okay. Very good. Papa Ben.
I think I'm happy what others said. Did I? Yeah, it is. It is difficult to do this meditate when you are. You can't do it yourself. Looking at your nose, it's very difficult. When you look at your nose, your both eyes go this way, which is difficult. How can you do with one eye? It will not. It. I have tried so many times to do that meditate. Look at your nose and you do it, but not the nose, the tip of the nose. Is I don't know. Are you doing it?
No, we don't need to. We don't have to. In this age, it's too hard.
It is. I don't know. I've tried
no
so
need.
many times.
No need. Wasting time. It's very easy to simply chant Hare Krishna. And
yeah, that's what other person said, and you are saying the same thing. It's easy to chant than doing that meditation.
But it's better to chant. Meditation will not have the same benefit as chanting.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. No, thank you.
Yeah. And you said something about fire bhakti. What was that?
The fire of bhakti will destroy all sins. Like firewood, the fire destroys all firewood. The wood there is destroyed to ashes. So any sins, bhakti will destroy every sin.
All right.
Fire
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. That's fine. That's okay. I understood. Thank you very much.
Surinder, anything you'd like to share?
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Prabhu, Nitai Gaura Hare
Hare Krishna.
Yes, I would like to share one verse from Prapana Jivanamritam. Shraddhaya eva kevala bhakti adhikara datrivam na jatyade kevalena hi bhavena gopyo gavo nagamrigaha Ye mudhadhiyo nagaha siddhamam yor anjasa. So it says, it is faith that qualifies one for exclusive devotion, not birth or any other worldly qualification. O Uddhava, simply by their unalloyed hearts did the cowherd ladies, the cows of Raja, the trees headed by the Yamala Arjuna's trees, the animals, the snakes headed by the evil Kaliya, and various objects of stultified intelligence headed by the shrubs and creepers of Vrindavan, all attain perfection and swiftly reach me. Herein, sadhana siddha gopis and various other devotees who attained to perfection by pure devotional practice have been referred to. Hare Krishna, Nidai Gaura Hare Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Surinder Prabhu. Anybody else? Any questions, comments? Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.